It is that time of the week again. Time to talk BYU football with BYU team captain Connor Pay. What went wrong against Iowa State? What needs to be corrected as BYU welcomes in Oklahoma? And it's also Senior Day, a day that Connor Pay is scheduled to be honored. We'll talk about all that ahead on Locked On Cougars.
You are Locked On Cougars, your daily podcast on the BYU Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Hatch, your host here on Locked On Cougars, your resident BYU insider. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Thank you to all of you who are everydayers with us right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Of course, this is your original daily podcast focused on all things BYU, and today's show is brought to you by our title sponsors over at LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs is helping find the right people for your team faster, and more importantly, they're doing it for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. All right, time now to welcome in BYU team captain Connor Pay. Been kind enough to join us all season long, every single week. And Connor, first off, how are you, sir?
Good, about as good as I can be.
I think everybody watching and or listening to this can commiserate with you. 3 straight losses, obviously, all of them in a pretty rough fashion. Let's start off with Iowa State. What was the initial reaction for you after the game? And then as you've had a couple of days to digest it, how are you feeling?
I mean, we can't start every game behind. Mm-hmm. And so to give, especially when you play good teams week in and week out, to give the ball away twice at the start of the game is just setting yourself up for failure, And so I think as I've mulled over the game more, it's we were able to put a couple good drives together, but a lot of it was just playing catch up. And you don't really have, your full offense at your disposal when you're in that mode. And so, you think about a lot of things like, okay, man, maybe we don't throw the pick on that first drive. What if we can put things together on that first drive, go down and score, or, we don't fumble on the second kickoff, and how different would that game have been? I don't know. We'll never know. But, I think turnovers have been an issue for us in the last few weeks, which had been on the first half of the season a major strength of our team, and has now become a weakness. And so it's challenging to beat anybody. It's challenging to even hang in the game when you give the ball away like that.
Now, obviously, adversity is part of what football is all about. You have to deal with adverse situations. But as you mentioned, it felt like even before you guys the game really started, quote unquote, you're down 10-0 because you mentioned interception converted for a touchdown just a few plays later. Ensuing kickoff, fumbled. Well, guess what? They kick a field goal, they go up 10-0. And then you guys, and I'll give you guys credit on this. The offense at that point, though, you get the ball back and you guys motored right down the field to make it 10-7. The question I have, though, is the ensuing, drives after that. You guys struggled to get first downs. And then more importantly, Iowa State conversely started converting seemingly every third down thrown at them. It was 3rd and 4, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10. They're getting all of that. How tough can that be to think, okay, we've got some momentum back on our hands, but then suddenly they just take full control, grab the game by the throat once again, and don't ever let you see the ball seemingly?
I mean, yeah, no, that's challenging, especially coming off like a good drive, go down, score, and then to just kind of putter around and not be able to move the football as effectively, because that you got to play complementary football. It's especially when your defense is kind of having a hard time, when they're struggling a little bit. And granted, those first couple scores, we just screwed them over. But when your defense is struggling, that's when you need to sustain drives, go down, put points on the board, keep them off the field, kind of control the clock a little bit more, and we weren't able to do that. And so, that just gave Iowa State opportunity after opportunity, good field position, to go down and just continuously put points on the board. And so, everyone's going to have those moments in games where, sometimes the offense is going to struggle for a couple drives or something. Sometimes the defense is going to struggle for a couple drives, but great teams kind of balance each other out, where it's like, okay, defense is struggling. We need to go down on some sustained drives and put points on the board, and vice versa. Okay, the offense is struggling. We got to come up with a few quick stops so they can get in rhythm. And when you can't do either of those things, the game can slip away from you really fast.
Now, you and I have had a similar conversation at points during the season. And I wanted to, there's a quote that Kalani had post-game. It's more about the defense. He talked about guys not trusting in the scheme right now. And I guess that kind of goes to, if you watch the game, a lot of it felt like there were guys trying to make plays outside of the responsibilities. And you and I have talked about the fact that times along the offensive front and on the offense in general at points this season, there has been a little bit of a lack of trust just amongst the players. I want you to explain from your perspective how you go about just simply having to, I guess, let go and trust the guy to either side of you, in your case as a center, or just an understanding. You got to say, you know what, I've got to do my job, focus on that, and then I'm going to hope to heck that they're going to do their part.
Yeah, I mean, that's a major thing, is in, and I don't even know, at least from the offensive line perspective, I'm not sure what's, all the scheme stuff going on defense, just because I don't spend much time in that world, but at least for an offensive line, I think it's a lot less in trusting in the scheme. Like, obviously that's a big part of it, but I think, trusting in each other is a major thing. And, obviously with guys getting used to each other, not really having played with each other very much, moving around positions, we've had some challenges with that, and just not, and I don't even know if it's necessarily a lack of trust as much as it is maybe just a lack of knowing what exactly to expect.
Okay.
From that person or person you're playing with, or that specific situation. And that's the crappy part about this game a little bit is, I felt in terms of the offensive line that we took steps forward in that department in this game. I felt like we were consistently on the same page, and Iowa State's a good team. They got us with some good twists and some stuff a couple of times, and we gave up a couple of pressures and some sacks, and good teams will do that, but obviously we have to clean those up. But to be able to rush for 190 or so, which I think was our highest of the season, with really not any sure focus on really pounding the rock,
sure,
was a big thing for us, and that was something that we wanted to and committed to do before the game, and it just sucks that everything else was just, we just couldn't quite get it done. And then it just, when you can't quite get it done on one drive, you can't quite get it done on the next, and then you look up and the game's out of hand. And, that's a really frustrating thing. And, we gotta make changes to fix it. And I don't know exactly what, those changes can or should be. That's above my pay grade a little bit, but we're just trying to stick together as a team, because regardless of how the last few games have gone, tomorrow comes, and you have to move forward, and you have to figure out how to make the most of the next day, because we play another game. We play another game. We play a really good team this week in Oklahoma, and we're going to have our work cut out for us. And we've got to show up and do a much better job than we've been doing. And so, that's kind of where the mindset has to be at. Even though things aren't going the way we want them to go right now. You have to be willing to make changes to get better and move forward. And because, it is senior night, so you want to do it for the seniors. And, I'm not too sure yet, but it could potentially be my last game in LaVell Edwards Stadium, which, is a very emotional and meaningful thing for me. And so, that's where our mindset's at this week. There's so much potential there if we can just stop making those stupid mistakes. Every loss we've had this year has come with a plethora of mistakes that by and large have cost us the game. And I think it mainly comes down to just the turnover battle. When we win the turnover battle, we're a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
And when we lose the turnover battle and lose it badly, we get smacked. And that's just kind of the reality of where our team's at right now. And so the focus, I think, this week has to be just taking care of the football. Let's do what we got to do to win the turnover battle so we can give ourselves a chance to make something happen.
Well, I'll back you up. The stats say that when you guys are plus in the turnover margin this season, you're 5-0. When you're even or minus in the turnover margin, 0-5. It can really just be that simple. And I got a couple of questions I want to ask you about that. I also want to talk, as you mentioned, about Oklahoma. We'll get to all that here momentarily. First, do you get a word in on our friends over at Jace Medical? They've been working with us for a long time. Now, the best part about Jace Medical is they've got you guys covered no matter what's going on in the world right now. All of us want to feel more secure as the things seem to be spiraling out of control. It feels like countries invading other countries. We've got terrorist actions going on all the time, natural disasters. The best part about it is Jace Case can help you have peace of mind knowing that you have at least 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use on hand at all times. You can have ED medications delivered to you guys. You realize what that means? You can have extended travel, bring on the next natural disaster, supply chain issue. You're covered top to bottom, my friends, no matter what you're looking for. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can refill your generics for anything you're looking for with the Jace Case. Right now, go to jacemedical.com to receive a 12-month supply of your daily medication. Remember to use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. As a verified customer said this about Jace: I am thankful for the service. Supply chain issues have caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds within a year's supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everybody. So if you or someone you know would love to have some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily med, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use the promo code LOCKED ON. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. It's all courtesy of your friends over at Jase, Jase medical.com. All right, continuing on now with Connor Pay, BYU team captain, here on his weekly visit on the podcast. And Connor, you kind of lifted a little bit, saying that you're not 100% certain on if this is going to be your final game as a BYU football player inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. But there are you and 29 other of your teammates, according to the release this week, who are going to be honored on Senior Day. Give me a sense. Obviously, it's still a few days away at least before that game actually takes place. But if it is your final game as a BYU Cougar, what are some of your emotions at the moment?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't had much time to kind of dwell on that, just because of the state of where we're at.
No.
It's kind of hard to think about those emotions or what it means and all this stuff, just because I don't want to go in there and lose, on senior night. And so, a lot of that energy has been poured into Oklahoma. And so, I mean, obviously, BYU has meant so much to me, and being able to play in LaVell Edwards has been a special experience since the day I got here and since I came to my first game there as a toddler. It's been a special place, and it'll always have a special place in my heart if this is my final game there. And so those are kind of just those are the emotions. I don't know if it's hit me fully. Just because I'm kind of in the mode of the season, in my schedule. And so maybe it'll hit me more on Saturday, but obviously really special and meaningful place. And it's special because of the fans and the people who are there supporting us. And, I wish we were doing a better job for them. right now. But so that's kind of where I'm at on that, I guess I'd say.
Now, Oklahoma, highly ranked, high-powered team, obviously a storied tradition. It also comes with, and I learned this today myself as I was doing some research for this, a 10 a.m. kickoff, Connor. And the last time BYU had a 10 a.m. kickoff, and I probably was at this game, or I at least watched it, was in 2004 against the University of New Mexico, of all teams. So it has been almost 20 years since the Cougars have played a 10 a.m. kickoff. Your thoughts, first off, on playing a morning game?
I mean, I don't mind it. That's for sure. I mean, kind of the thought of, we'll probably have like a 6 a.m. call time at the hotel, get up, eat breakfast, do our final meetings, and go to the stadium. That, I mean, honestly, I kind of like it, because I kind of like waking up early a little bit. And so, we've never, like you said, we haven't played a game this early in years. So, it's going to feel different than the other games. And maybe that's exactly what we need right now, And so, I mean, we'll take it from anywhere at this point,
Your thoughts on facing Oklahoma, because like I said, they're one of the more storied programs just in college football in general. Have won a lot of games over the years. They're one of those that are like the quote unquote blue bloods out there. Like you mentioned, this might be your final game as a BYU football player. What are your feelings in knowing that if you do go out, this being your final game in LaVell Edwards Stadium, it's against one of the true big dog programs in college football?
I mean, yeah, no, I have a ton of respect for Oklahoma, and as I've studied them more, they're obviously a really solid team, and they've played well this year. And they score a lot of points, and so that's a challenge for our offense to try to match that and give our defense some chances. But no, definitely have a lot of respect for them and how they play. And they've got a really solid defense, and not as much in terms of some of the other teams we've played in terms of guys up front that are just just dogs, but the way they play together is really good. As I've watched more tape of them, they switch up their fronts quite a bit, which frees up their backers to do a lot of things, and they're a good coverage team. So a lot of respect for Oklahoma, man. They've done a really good job, especially, kind of having a little bit of a rough season last year to turn it around and bounce back and be playing as well as they are. So, a lot of respect for them.
Now, you, if I'm not mistaken, you did play in that Boca Raton Bowl back in 2020. I think you actually stepped in. Was that your first career start?
Yeah, that was the first game ever that I played major minutes in. Yeah.
Okay, well, that means you were on the same field as current Oklahoma quarterback Dillon Gabriel, because he was the starting quarterback for UCF in that game when you guys played them. You had any memories of that game and watching him play at all?
Not so much. He's a lot better now than he was back then. And so, because I do remember that their defense sucked. That I do remember. Because I came into the game and, it's my first time playing against or with some of those older guys like Chandon and Brady and Tristan Hodge and, going through combos, getting up to backers. And I'm like, man, this is easy. Like, this is not as hard as I thought it would be. So their defense wasn't exactly very good that year. Their offense did score some points, if I remember. I think they 21 maybe. Mm-hmm. I think the final was like 42-21 or something like that. So they did score some points, and I do remember him making some good throws and running a decent amount. But yeah, not comparable to what he's doing right now. He's had a hell of a season.
I've got one other question just regards to Oklahoma, and then we'll get to some listener questions here in a moment. But there was the civic engagement day for you guys this week. Monday, you guys took it off. No official team activities as mandated by the NCAA. In some thought that may put you behind the eight ball in terms of your preparation. What is your confidence level? You guys will be able to overcome that and be ready come game time on Saturday.
I don't know. I don't think it puts us behind the eight ball at all. Just because Monday is typically a day where we lift, We review from the last game. And we don't really get in deep into Oklahoma prep quite yet, or whoever we're playing that week. Monday's more of a review day, pull from that game, and then we do a little bit, but then we go heavy into the opponent on Tuesday, which is kind of our normal schedule anyways. And so today, with the civil day, we had kind of an optional lift and then meetings, which basically everyone was at, and we just ran it as players, and we kind of made it mandatory kind of as players, and we just kind of did it early in the morning before classes, went in, got a lift, went up for us. We met as an O-line, and reviewed a little bit from the game like we would on a normal Monday, and then kind of got a jump start into Oklahoma. So I don't think it puts us behind the eight ball in that aspect. Just the only difference is we kind of just had to do it on our own and not with the coaches. But if anything, the coaches spend a lot of the Monday getting the game plan together, but they have to kind of take time out of that to go and review the game with us on Mondays. So if anything, this probably gave our staff a little extra time to just dive deep into Oklahoma prep. So.
All right. We will get to some listener questions here in just a moment. Before we do that, though, do need to talk about our friends over at LinkedIn. They've been working with us for months now. They're one of our great recruiting sponsors here on the podcast, as well as the Locked On Podcast Network. Of course, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you guys need to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster, and more importantly, they do it for free. You can go online, set up your job posting right away on LinkedIn, and then add your job in that purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. They feature simple tools like screening questions, make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. That's why small businesses are rating LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus their leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you would like to talk to faster, my friends. Post your job for free right now at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post that job for free. Once again, terms and conditions apply. Today's show is also brought to you by one of our great local sponsors. It's our friends over at Perry Homes. Now, Perry Homes has been helping us out, and obviously we want to help all of you out here in the state of Utah. Whether you're looking for your first home, you're ready to upgrade to your dream home, Perry Homes has a house for you. For 50 years, Perry Homes has been Utah's premier home builder with communities throughout the state. They have many communities, home designs, and price points, all designed to meet your needs as a consumer. They have beautiful communities in Davis, Salt Lake, Tooele, and Utah counties, as well as multiple communities in Washington County near St. George as well. They offer over 50 unique home designs, from ramblers to 2-stories to townhomes. Literally anything you guys could want, they can find it for you guys. And they're offering generous financing incentives through the preferred lender right now as well. So visit perryhomesutah.com to see what's new in Utah's finest neighborhoods. That's Perry, Perry, perryhomesutah.com to learn more now. For 50 years, Utah has been coming home to Perry Homes. Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars a part of your day. Everybody, hope you're having a fantastic day whenever you watch and or listen to this. As we draw near the close, wrapping up here with you, Connor. Now, we had a listener reach out to me, and he did send this message via email, and he titled it, he said, Jake, I had more of a comment for Connor Pay this week. So this comes from our good friend Jordan. And he says this, could you let him know how grateful I was that he took the time to take a picture with me and so many other fans after a hard game? I'll always be a big fan of him, no matter what happens the rest of the season. Also, if you could tell him, I'm sorry the candy bar I got him was not bigger.
Well, Jordan, I appreciate that, man. He did. He gave me a little fast break at the end of the game that I mentioned a few weeks ago.
Send this picture in, by the way. My camera's not going to pick it up. There you go. If you can see it on YouTube, that's the picture. Honor. So there you go.
No, Jordan, I appreciate it. And we always, those fans that stuck it out to the end, man. That's walking around, saying hi, taking pictures, signing their stuff. Even though I don't know why on God's green earth they want my signature, but just taking the time to do that is the least we could do after they stuck it out with us through a game where they really didn't have to. and I know I've made jokes about, my shoulder getting sore and stuff as I walk around the stadium and stuff. But, those fans deserve it. They deserve the world for sticking through that BS with us.
Now, he did also have this question for you, though. Could you ask Connor what current NFL scheme he would like to play for if he could ultimately choose where he got to go?
I don't know. The honest answer is anyone who will take me.
Okay.
That's just kind of that's how the business works. You just need someone to give you an opportunity, but preferably somewhere that doesn't have state taxes.
Well, he says that personally, I think he'd be great on my Philadelphia Eagles team, and I hope he gets drafted to them when he does go pro. So maybe you can replace Mr. Kelsey there in Philly. You never know.
That's a special offensive line, so that would be a tall task, but that would be exciting.
No doubt. I also had another question that came in via Ethan here, and it says, Jake, can you ask Connor when things are down, like as they are right now with the BYU football program, when he feels down, what does he do to cheer himself up?
There's a few things I like to do. And I don't know if I'd call it, the healthiest thing, but when things aren't going well, I kind of just want to nosedive right into it and try to find solutions.
Okay.
But also for me is, I'm one player on this team. And so how far can I really take that outside of my job? Not very far, even as a captain, trying to help my teammates do the same thing. And so I did do that on Sunday, watching the game multiple times, trying to figure out what we could have done. But I think there's also times where you just kind of need to step back. And for me, when those times get really challenging, I turn to my family first and foremost. I don't even care if we're not doing anything at all. Just going and just being, my parents live 30 minutes from here. I can drive home on a Sunday. And I can spend time with my parents and my brother there. And that's a really good kind of detox for me, when you can kind of, especially these last few weeks where it's pretty negative a little bit in terms of, what you see and what you're trying to fix. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so much bad going on and a little bit of good, but a lot more bad the last 3 weeks where you kind of have to get out of that mindset a little bit to kind of help reset you for the week so you can go and attack this next week with the same energy and enthusiasm without letting it pull you down. And so, spending time with my family, going to church for me, that's also that reset, spending some time in the scriptures. And, if there's anyone who understands, kind of how I feel, and how crappy this can be sometimes, it's Christ. And so, turning to him and finding solace in his words and in his teachings. And of course, for me also, I'll go bang the drums for a little while. I'll grab some sticks and go hit some stuff. So, those are kind of the things I like to do. And I don't get a lot of time to do some of those things because there's just so much work that needs to be done. But I do think it's important for kind of your mental state to kind of, back up a little bit, take some time, even if it's like you got 15 minutes one day, even if that's all I get to, talk to my family, read some scriptures, go play a couple songs on the drums. I take it just so I can kind of reset my mind a little bit.
Well, I think that's a good spot to leave off. We will wish you the best of luck this week against Oklahoma, Connor. We'd love nothing more than for you guys to go out and quote unquote shock the world and get your 6th win, obviously. And Juan talks about extend the season one more game with that bowl, getting to bowl eligibility. But once again, best of luck this week, and we'll reconvene next week and talk about a road trip to Stillwater and Thanksgiving, I guess.
That's the plan.
All right. Well, Connor, thanks again, my man.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Connor Pay. I'm Jay Catch. A big thank you once again to all of you for tuning in to Locked On Cougars here and obviously checking things out. Thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day, as we often say. And thank you once again for being a part of it. Thank you for being everydayers, as we like to call you guys, right here on the podcast. Until tomorrow, have a great rest of your day. This has been the Locked On Cougars podcast. See ya.